Well, yeah, we have kind of a depth chart across the board, and as far as that position goes, it was just a good time. You know, the separation was enough that as we begin today, we kind of started our true game week preparations, and so it was just the timing worked out for everything, and onward and upward.
Can you take us through the discussion with the coaches to determine that Vernon would start over Jeff, what you saw differentiating between the two of them?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's where there's a ton of factors, and it's not a drastic deal. It's a little bit here, a little bit there. There's no, when you get into these kind of things, it's not like it's a 100% to 80% type of grit, at all. But just enough in a lot of categories to create separation, and it was good timing.
What's the conversation like with Jeff in that situation? And I'm sure he's a little distraught about the whole deal as well.
Sure. Jeff was awesome. Jeff was exactly how you would expect it. You're not happy. There's a lot of those. Yesterday and today are tough days because there's a lot of guys that have visions of whatever, of always being the best guy in their, on their team and their family, and you're on a scout team where you're second or third or fourth on the depth chart, and that's tough. But our guys, we're very honest with them all throughout the process, and so that makes it a little bit easier. But as soon as a guy moves down to scout team for the first time, that's a blow. But we had a really good day today, and I always gauge, kind of the feel of the team and how they respond with that first practice after today or after yesterday, and it went well. Now that you're into kind of game prep week, how much do you guys go to Vernon with questions, or how much can he help in game planning, having known the other system that you guys are going to go against? We zero, to be honest with you. That's not something that we've talked about or will talk about. We're just, certainly we're going to watch their film, which we already have, and all those things, and look at their scheme, and then it's all about us and trying to execute.
What have you seen out of Vernon in 2 weeks? When do you believe he can lead this offense?
He's just done a lot of good things, and as have the other guys. I think our position, the quarterback position, is a lot better, certainly now than it was last spring, now than it was early in the fall, because all those guys competed better. Morgan had a much better fall camp. Travis had a much better fall camp. Taylor Alley was our best quarterback at a few practices, so that's a good thing. And then just being efficient with the ball and scoring the ball and making good decisions. A little bit better than everybody else.
You have 3 true freshmen on the offense, defense, 2 deep. Do you know others at this point who will play this year for sure?
Oh my gosh! So that means I have to memorize the 2 deep. And Taj Griffin, was he on the 2 deep?
No.
He'll play.
Merritt, Umadi, and
Kirk Merritt. Yep. Canton, Umadi. This requires a lot of
receivers,
quick thinking. Alex, at this point, we're going to try to redshirt. Fadale, and as well as Malik. Those guys were 2 really difficult decisions. Played their tails off. Love those guys. Great effort guys. Tough guys. Smart guys. And we're going to try to they're on our little ready list. We try to redshirt those guys. Same as Jonah Moy. We're going to try to redshirt Jonah Moy.
The offensive line.
Who else is a true freshman I'm missing? Yeah, Jake Hansen and a couple of those guys we're going to rotate in. I love our freshman class of offensive linemen. We're going to try to redshirt them all and see how that works out.
Defensive line, obviously
Canton. Yeah, Canton's in the 2 deep. Ugo, Quinn, everybody else we're going to try to redshirt.
Linebackers, Jonah, you said you're redshirt.
Jonah, we're going to try to redshirt.
No other true freshmen. So
on
the line,
you're going to have a list.
On the defensive line, or the offensive line, you're going to Hansen.
He's on the bubble right now. Yeah, there's again probably 3 of those guys of the true freshmen that are put the total package a little bit together faster than the other guys, and he's one of them. But ideally, he would redshirt. I don't know if that's going to be able to happen.
But
Taj would play. Yeah.
Was there can you think of a specific moment, or we're not in practice, where Vernon did something that you could describe that may have kind of been that little?
No, it's never one thing or one moment at any position. it's the same thing at center. Matt's had a really good fall camp, and it's a culmination of a lot of things. And it's A versus B on film, and you evaluate A versus B, and A plays more than B. And there's nothing, there's no one moment that propels anyone up or down necessarily.
Seeing what Braylon did in 2013, it was maybe a surprise for us that he wasn't listed as a starter. Is that just a sign of how good the receivers are?
Those guys are practicing their tails off, and that's another place that is highly competitive. Dwayne Stanford has had a great camp. Is a fun, loves football, runs around with a great attitude, and creates a really good energy. But yeah, there's a lot of great positional battles going on there, and a lot of guys will play, obviously.
Right.
I'm sorry, how much time? You mentioned sometimes you'll early scout an opponent kind of in the spring to have an idea if there's new coaches, team you haven't played. How much do you know kind of Eastern Washington? What have you kind of done the last couple of days, or just kind of where do you go now that it's kind of game preparation?
Yeah, we look at anybody that is either exactly what you said, either a new opponent or changing coordinators, changing coaching staff. Obviously, we'll look at those guys in the spring, and just kind of and it's more of a, hey, this is their personality, this is their deal, here's their personnel. We don't necessarily game plan at that point, just because we don't know what we're going to be. We know from a base standpoint what we're going to be, but if you try to get too detailed into it and you plan on playing 4 wideouts and you don't have 4 wideouts that can play, you don't really predetermine too much of that. But from now, it's just a regular game week with a bonus. We have a bonus day in here, which we kind of work the kinks out of where people go during practice, and scout team and the different crossover periods are slightly different, and so we try to get through that just knock off that rust of the game week, just logistical things.
Do you talk to Vernon, since it's Eastern Washington? Do you talk to him and try and tap into what he knows more so than anything?
No, somebody else has asked about that. No, we're going to focus on us, and we're certainly going to look at them from a schematic standpoint, and they're coached really well, and all the principles, the size and the strength and all the things you try to judge. Absolutely going to do that, but when you start to think too much about what they're doing, that's where you lose sight of what your true focus should be.
Yeah, do you guys look at film of them, or you got to that point where you guys have seen a lot of them, or kind of know that obviously hitting the quarterback, what the personnel or kind of what they have?
Defensively and special teams, I've looked at. I have not watched them on offense yet, and so that there's a lot of carryover. Our defense is similar. There are multiple coverage kind of team, and they mix it up really well. But yeah, I haven't done it to the offense well.
What was the decision to put Charles Nelson on offense?
Mainly his. Charles is a guy that was his kind of wish to start things out this fall. He had a really good spring. He moved around a lot, and we tried him at a bunch of different spots and offense stuff.
Is that also the confidence in the secondary?
In his case, and when that decision was made, it was more about him and his desire. There wasn't really a comparison of anything yet.
Have you heard a final word yet about Van Cranston, whether you might be able to go, or if that?
Well, we haven't heard any changes on that, and so that is indicated in the depth chart for sure. And so we're working behind the scenes as much as we can. At this point, it's not looking favorable. It's from an NCAA standpoint, the legislation is tabled, so it's somewhere on the table.
Mid-October is probably still the best guess for him.
Yeah.
How has he been practicing?
He's been practicing really well. His attitude has been good. It's a tough situation, obviously. But it's kind of like, for some guys, like a healing injury, and how they respond to that is important. And he's done well. Good timing on that.
Pretty beautiful.
Thanks, Mark.
You guys.